All right, Nelson, I think we can start.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll share my screen. So the first things first. Do you have any idea, Nelson, like how we usually, any idea of a production control shop floor, like what exactly is done just to, let me say I have a finished good. So how will I like, produce it? Like a layman's idea. How will production usually happen? Let us take the case of a car manufacturing. So like what will be the usual steps that you will like to take to manufacture a finished good called car?
Are you asking me?
Yep.
Okay, so if you want to manufacture something, you need to have a demand, first of all.
Okay.
Yeah, once you have the demand, you need to serve the demand,
Okay.
create an inventory. So you have several
Exactly.
ways to manufacture. If you manufacture to inventory, then what you're going to do is to set the inventory level that you want to have, either by a forecast or an inventory level that is defined in the inventory, and you're going to create an order, a work order. And that order will need to have parts and will need to have work. The work part is every stage of the process that you need to go through to build the final good. And
Okay.
all the parts are related with each step that you're going to take to complete one particular job.
Exactly. You really have a nice idea of what to do. I think it will be the easier session then for you. So, okay, that was really nice. This is exactly what we do when trying to manufacture. So, so starting, like we can say that usually the manufacturing, like we can divide it although if you look at Google and all, so we'll see six types of manufacturing or seven types of manufacturing. But when we talk about the process specific manufacturing, so basically we have the two types of manufacturing, and that is very much integrated into the system. First is discrete manufacturing.
Yeah,
So this is something which you can say it's like a kind of assembly of raw materials, you can say. So basically in discrete manufacturing, so I think the car was one of the best examples of discrete
yeah.
manufacturing, but only
That
if we assume that all the materials like the tire, the tubes, and the engine, if I assume that we are just buying them, we are not producing them. So then basically during the you might have seen the car assembly line. So I think at the first time, then they are trying to fix the engine into the body, then they are trying to fix the tire or tubes, then slowly the car is taking shape. Then maybe starting in the starting they are trying to dip that sort of thing in kind of oil paint or anything as such to give it the proper color. So that can be called as something called a discrete manufacturing. So similarly, Nelson, we have something called process manufacturing. So process manufacturing, you can say, the typical example can be of let me say mixed fruit juice. So this is an example of process manufacturing. So as the name suggests, process manufacturing, we will be dealing with processes, and this is not a simple assembly. This is basically this can be called as the mixing of ingredients. So this is very much different as compared to mixing of ingredients. So this is, or in this case, they are the raw materials. So now this process will be a lot different as compared to the processes of as we said, the car assembly. Here we have car assembly, or we
yeah, the
can
difference
say
is that you have in the first one that you have up there, you produce one final good. And
yeah,
the process manufacturing, you can have multiple outputs and also
exactly,
byproducts that
exactly.
you can produce from the process itself.
Right. We have something called co-products and byproducts
Co-products and
here.
byproducts, yeah, correct.
So they are not present in the
Yeah, and the
discrete
discrete
manufacturing.
manufacturing is to, I don't know, bottle a shampoo.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. So we will be having a notion of co-products and byproducts here, but in the discrete manufacturing, we don't have to do all that. Also, we hear the list of materials that are required to produce the finished good. So we call it as a BOM or a bill of materials.
Hmm.
So here we call it a bill of materials, although this is the same bill of materials here, but here we will call it a formula. So this is again the notion of different items. So whenever we'll be talking about the discrete manufacturing, then we'll be saying, okay, what is the BOM of this particular finished good? In short, what is the list of raw materials and in the various quantities required to produce that particular finished good? But when we'll be talking about the process manufacturing, we'll ask what is the formula for this, because it really makes much more sense. And even the word formula is used here instead of bomb. So formula means, okay, so to produce the bottle of shampoo you need let me say, producing 2 gallons of shampoo, you need like 0.25 gallons of this ingredient, then this chemical, and then finally you have to mix it. Okay, but here we'll be saying, okay, to produce a laptop, what do you need? So we'll be specifying them. Okay, you need a motherboard, you need a processor, you need let me say one or two hard disks or the solid state drives, so one visual display unit. So something as such we'll be defining in the uh, discrete manufacturing. So these are the various terms, and also we will be having something called route. As you mentioned, that raw material consumption is one thing, but we also have the list of operations. So here the list of operations can be, for example, if I talk about the laptop build, so maybe my first operation will be, integrating the motherboard in body. So integration of a motherboard, comma processor.
Hmm.
My second
Yeah,
step could be like attaching the visual display unit, the VDU. Similarly, here also we will be using something called route, the same name, because it's also again the list of operations. So here my first operation can be like in shampoo manufacturing, it may be like mixing of few chemicals. So mixing may be one
yeah.
of my operation. Then second
Hmm.
operation maybe heating of certain chemicals. So heat treatment might be the second operation. So
Yeah.
like this is and one more important thing is, in case of can be so here the finished good can be broken down into its components. That's what makes discrete manufacturing a lot different as compared to the process manufacturing, and that without using chemical processes. Maybe some of the chemicals you can get back, but then again you will have to mix the chemicals here, maybe apply some sort of heat treatment, so some kind of chemical reaction to get that, and maybe you will get something else along with that. So this process is really not possible. For example, if you, let me say, you created a mixed fruit juice using let me say pomegranate and guava and apple or something like that, and now if you want apple back, so that will not be possible anyway. You will never get the whole fruit apple. Maybe you could separate the apple juice out of the all others, and then again maybe you will have to add some more quantities. But here we do not have anything as such. A laptop is there, just unscrew them and you will get back all the components. So therefore, as you correctly mentioned, we have something called co-products and byproducts here, but here we do not have anything as such because it's a simple assembly. You are assembling the items. So also one more thing, for example, uh, maybe there are very laptop assembly, and that too if you are procuring every raw material from outside, then we can call it a perfect discrete manufacturing. Although like whatever the industries you visit, so they'll be having a combination of like discrete manufacturing and process manufacturing. Let us say in the car assembly itself, So they are assembling the items, but like they maybe they are making some, for example, some designs, some parts of the, some parts of the car. So maybe they are burning or applying some sort of heat treatment operation to, to certain shapes to fix it into the car. So like very rarely you will find any company using 100% discrete or
And you
manufacturing.
have these two options, discrete and process. Do you have any other
Yes.
options like rates or
uh,
something?
like rates, I didn't get you. Rates means?
Rate production is when you set a production line and
Hmm.
you plan this production line by I don't know 1,000 units per hour, and
Okay, so
you
that so
turn
that
on
is,
this you turn on this
yes.
production line, and that is going to be your rate of
Yep, we
production
do
for
have.
that
We do.
particular
We do have that.
production
We
line.
configure all of those things in the routes. So we configure all of those things in the routes. So we do have, like right now I'm talking about the fundamentals. Like this is the way. Like these are the terminologies that you will find in Dynamics CX, and then rest of the scenarios, almost every production scenario. So that can be taken care of. We can configure the routes accordingly. We can configure the costing and pricing, the piecewise work that you are talking, like per rate, per hour, how many are produced. So all sorts of those things can be taken into consideration and can be configured accordingly. Okay, so that is very much a possibility. So we'll have a look at that when we'll be discussing the details of BOM and the details of route. Okay, so for now, I think this is
And
sufficient.
for these two processing models, you always need a work order.
Yes, work orders. We will definitely be having work orders. So first, let me walk you through the process. You will
Mhm.
be having definitely a work order. Each and every stage is there in production. So you will be starting it. You will be reporting it as finished material consumption, and then operation consumption. All of those stages will be present, and what operation needs what amount of time for what quantities, or what finished good, what raw materials are required to finish what amount of finished goods. Every sort of scenario is well taken care of. Okay, so we'll talk about those scenarios, but for now, just to build up that base. So these concepts are needed in the starting. So I think you are pretty much familiar with all of these, and now we can hop on to the system, and let us try to create. So our the main agenda for today is that, we should know how to create something called BOM, and
Yeah.
then we'll be so that is the most important thing right now, BOM. Or then also we'll talk about how to create formula in coming lectures, and then route and operation. So we'll build up our base slowly. Okay, so let me now try to create a BOM first, so that I
So
can
first of all, do you need some parameters, specific parameters of the final good?
Yes, yes, I'll be talking about that, because we have a
Okay.
special tab dedicated to the production settings on the
Uh-huh.
item, and as well as we have a whole module called production control. So production control is the module where you'll find a lot of things. You'll find the all production orders, you'll find the list of routes, the list of
Mhm.
operations, and everything as such, the basic
But is,
reporting
is is an
queries.
item that is manufactured different than an item that is purchased, for example?
Purchased. I don't get you. Like
Do you have
manufactured.
different parameters for an item that is manufactured than?
Yes,
Uh,
we do have that. We
okay.
do have that, because whenever we are doing the sort of automatic planning, then the system needs to know of what item should a purchase order be created. For example, you need a certain item. For example, you need two items, one which is produced in your company and one which you usually buy to satisfy a demand. So for that, we have certain parameters on the item card. So let me navigate to the item card. I'll show you that. Product
Inventory,
information
maybe?
management.
Okay. Product.
Yes, we'll have that. And so there is something called a default order settings. So if you navigate to the
Mm,
default order
there is.
settings,
There is. Yeah.
so therefore you specify like what exactly this sort of thing is, like default order type. So this is where you specify, that is this item which is usually procured or is it item which is produced. So when you will
Okay.
run the system planning,
You
then
have
it will,
Kanban also. Okay.
yes, so it will tell you that okay, if you need certain quantity of an item, all right, so you need to produce that item. So you need to
Okay.
purchase this item or you need to produce that item. Okay, so it will create the purchase orders or the production orders depending on this choice.
Okay.
So now let us try to create a simple. I think laptop will be a good example since we are dealing with the um,
Mhm.
discrete manufacturing first. So let me say it's a very simple laptop with one microprocessor, okay, and let me say one hard disk, or let me say SSDs are coming these days now. Let me say
Oh,
two.
you can use I don't know a sunglass. So the sunglass is the frame plus the lens,
Okay,
and that's it.
yeah,
Yeah,
sunglass, yeah, that
yeah.
looks. Sunglass is the finished good. Okay,
Two pieces.
okay, yeah, two
suppose
pieces. So
suppose that you buy the frame, that you don't build the frame.
yeah, glass will have two quantity. Yeah, that looks good. Two quantities and frame one. We have one frame.
One frame
Okay,
that you
okay,
get from
that is
some
one quantity.
supplier or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll create this thing. So what I'll do is first I'll create the finished good. So we obviously need to have the finished goods and the bomb lines. So okay, let me create a new finished good first. Let me say sunglass. We can have product and product master also. If you want to have sunglasses a specific dimension, let me say sunglasses, you want to have red, blue, or green color. So then you will be
Yeah.
defining sunglass as a product master, and the rest of the process is same. So right now,
Let's suppose that is a simple sunglass.
yeah, let us suppose it's a simple sunglass because it will make our configuration simple.
Yeah.
Okay. So once we do that, let me specify these settings so that we can make use of this product. Let me specify site and warehouse, and I do not want to have any tracking dimension of like serial number or anything as such. So I'll click it on okay. Yeah. That is okay. So now we can click on okay. So this is our finished good. One thing to note is like there is the engineer tab. So this is where we define the production settings. So right now, we can see this is the most important thing. Production type is BOM. So we have several production types here. Production type of co-product will mean that this item will behave like a co-product. So you cannot create a
Okay.
formula for this, you cannot create a bomb for this, but it is just like a co-product. Similarly, we have byproduct. None also means you cannot create a formula or bomb for this. Planning item is something that we'll discuss in the later section. It is a little bit more advanced topic. So first we need to cover the BOM and formula. BOM means as soon as you click on BOM, you'll see that in the engineer tab, the BOM versions active BOM. So this BOM
Hmm.
place becomes active, but
Okay.
the
And if
formula
you
is disabled.
okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yes, so if you click on formula, suppose it was a kind of a mixed fruit juice type item.
Yeah.
So then obviously we'll be creating the formulas and not the bombs. So you
Okay.
can either have one formula or bomb. So this is one thing. So also for let me say so the frame. So for frame we can keep it as none. So let me say sunglass frame. First select the item model group. FIFO.
iPhone.
Yep. Let me select a random item group. Storage dimension of site
Uh,
and warehouse.
okay.
Tracking dimension I want none. So once we do that, now I'm creating a sunglass frame. So here, Nelson, what we'll do is we can either leave it as a bomb. So bomb means even sunglass can have its own bomb. So this is very much a business, real life business scenario, that it's not necessary that you just have one finished good and all of them are separate components. Maybe the sunglass itself is a bomb, having maybe something additional. I think sunglass will not fit into this category. So sunglass frame, so maybe for example, let us say it is having it is made up of some other materials. So then you can have this bomb here and you can create a bomb version for this. So once you do that, then the hierarchy will be like at the topmost you have finished good, then inside the finished good you have the sunglass frames and the sunglasses, and within the sunglass frame also you have something more. So you can
Yeah.
say
So you
bomb
can
and
have
bomb.
several levels of
Exactly, multi-level
bombs.
bomb. Exactly. So this is uh, the most
Yeah.
important thing to note. But right now, if you do not want that, okay, we know that it is not going to have any level, so you can make it none. So if you make it none,
Okay.
then
So before, yeah, for example, if this is the sunglass frame. Okay.
mhm.
This field that you have there, the constant scrap,
Mhm.
um, that is something that is going to work how in the production order.
Yeah, so constant scrap and variable scrap are something. So we'll talk about bombs, and then these, if this is a part of a bomb line, for example, this is definitely going
Okay,
to be a
that is a
part of
bomb
bomb line.
line. Okay, okay,
Yes.
yeah, got it.
So then these values of constant scrap and variable scrap that you define, so these values will be copied when you'll be creating bombs. So as soon as you
Okay,
add this item, so these values will be copied. So these are for the for the default settings. So
yeah,
maybe let us say,
understood.
okay, so this is for that
Yeah,
purpose, so that
yeah,
you don't have to mark the constant scrap again and again.
yeah.
So
Okay.
this is one item, and
And
now
the
let me.
and the only switch that I want to understand is the auto report as finished.
Auto report as finish is again something like, usually we don't make use of this, but it's like, whenever you are trying to finish it, it will help us in certain scenarios. First we'll look at the normal report as finished products, because there also there are multiple ways. You do not want every time to make it as auto report as finished. Phantom is also something, but we'll all these things will make sense once we process the purchase production order cycle. So
Okay.
production order cycle itself is going to take one session, because there will be a lot of stages: starting, consumption, and then maybe you want to start half quantity, maybe you want to start full quantity. So a lot of things will be there. So we'll talk about this after some time. Okay, for
Okay.
now just think that this is a simple bomb line. So we will be attaching a bomb line to the bomb, and then we'll be consuming these quantities.
Mm-hmm.
So let me
Okay.
create my second
The
bomb line.
yeah,
So that is the glasses.
these glasses. Yeah.
So let me say
Yeah.
glasses. So okay, so I'll create this one also. So since I do not have multi-level bombs, so I can make this as production type none. So let me select a random item group, create the select the storage dimension and site and warehouse. Tracking dimension as none. Okay, this looks good. So glasses also, I want this production type to be none. So
Mm-hmm.
once we do that, so now we have all of our three items made. So now what we want is we'll navigate to the main item, our finished code.
Mm-hmm.
So let me
The
select my
sunglass.
finished code. Yeah.
No,
Did I
was yeah, all together.
all
Sunglass.
together? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is our finished good. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll navigate to the engineer section, and we'll
Mm-hmm.
we'll click on the BOM versions. So now here one more concept. Uh, we need a BOM so that we can have the list of materials to produce the sunglass. But we can have several versions of that. So hence the
Okay.
concept BOM versions. Maybe you want to have a BOM dedicated for one site you want to have some bomb, for another site you want to have another bomb. Maybe from quantity, if you want to produce more than 100, from 100 or up to 100 you want to produce something less, although in sunglasses that will not fit the case. It is more likely to fit in the formula versions. Maybe you want to produce more than 100 gallons of juice, so maybe you want to add something extra preservative, some not, something like that. So if you want to have variations of bomb depending on the site, depending on from quantity, or maybe depending on the list of selected dates, so you can have multiple versions of that. So as soon as you try to create a production order, the production order will look to all these parameters. So if you want to, if you're selecting a specific site, if you are selecting a specific quantity or a specific date, so you can have several versions, depending on these scenarios. Also, so now here I want to create a BOM and a BOM version. Since I do not have a BOM as well as a BOM version, let me say BOM sunglass. The most important thing on Nelson is site here. All the bombs and all the routes will be linked to a site, and there's a reason for that. Site is usually the biggest storage dimension entity. So it means, for example, you are producing something, but you have, let me say, some old machinery. So you have a place where the manufacturing is happening using the old machinery, and you have a place where you have some new machines. Maybe their outputs are way too higher. Okay, so you will be configuring the operations differently or the hours differently for this second site as compared to the first site. So all the bombs and all the routes are always linked to a site. So whenever you'll try to enter the site while creating a production order, okay, I want my finished good to be present here after production. The system will give you a prompt that do you want to insert the active BOM or formula or the routes for this particular site, and there you can select yes or no, and finally you can override them also if you don't want them. So this is one thing to to make note of, that everything, all bombs formulas, so they are always linked to a particular site. So let me select a site one here. I don't want to copy it from an existing bomb since I'm creating a new, so I'll click on OK. So this will bring us again to the header and line view. So here we have to specify the quantities that will make up our finished good. So now I'll specify the two raw materials that we just created. First is the sunglass frame. Okay. And from where you want to pick these, the default locations. Now again, this this will vary in a lot of ways. For example, right now it will simply pick it up from the, if I say warehouse 11, so it will search for the inventory on warehouse 11. If it finds, it will give you that okay, you are good to go, we can do the raw material consumption. If the inventory is missing or anything as such, it will say like you cannot process the production order further. Also, we'll have multiple ways of consuming the inventory at different points of time in different ways. So that we'll talk when we start to process production order. But for now, let us consider that this is the default location. The system will look into it, and if it finds, so okay, so it will try to consume from there. Quantity and per series, these are the two most important fields. The first thing is how much quantity, just focus on the quantity. How much quantity of this material, the bomb line that you're trying to add, is required to produce a finished good of this quantity. So right now we require one sunglass frame to produce one sunglass. If I say 7 here and 9 here, it means I require 7 quantities of sunglass frame to produce 9 quantities of my finished good, which is not the case. So are you clear on quantity and per series?
Yep.
Okay, so let me mark it as 1 and per series also 1, and I'll create a new line. So these are the
Glass.
sunglass.
No, it's only glass.
That is the glass. Okay, glass, glasses. So let me say, let me assume my glass is like the one glass. So in that case, I need two glasses to produce one sunglass. Okay, so
Yeah.
this is how I'll like, this is a kind of bomb. So bombs can be extremely simple to extremely complicated. I've seen bombs having more than 1800 items. So this is a typical bomb of you can say a train wagon or something like that. So I was in a project, so yeah, the bomb was super complicated, and every bomb was different. As soon as they try to create a production order, so as the first stage on the created itself, so they needed something more or something less. So that is again a possibility, and that can be well handled with Dynamics 365 system. So these are the details of what exactly like we are going to add, and then in the line details, a lot of things are there actually. So, for example, bomb type. So this is again of various types. So it is a kind of thing that I would expect you to explore, but not now. When we'll be finished with production order processes. So bomb type item means that this is the item and it is going to be consumed like simply from the inventory. Bomb type vendor means as soon as if you click this as a bomb type of vendor, then when you are trying to create a production order, so it will not be consumed from here, but also a purchase order will be created, you know, to buy this
Okay.
particular. Yeah, so that is this
Okay.
scenario. Also there is something called packed supply. This we'll talk about after some time. Then there is something called phantom. So phantom and packed supply, we'll talk about this at the later stages. So phantom
Hmm.
basically means it will try to break that outer shell. For example, if there is if the glass is having three or more components in itself, then it will show us those three components and instead of glasses, because that
Okay.
glass will act like a placeholder. So a phantom is there, packed supply. So packed supply means packed supply, yeah, for now you should know. Packed supply means, let us say we are also producing the glasses. So glasses itself, as I mentioned, glasses itself is a kind of bomb, let us assume, and we are also, making production orders for glasses. So if I select the packed supply here, so what it will do, during the creation of production order of sunglass, it will also create a sub production order of glasses, so that you can process the glasses first and bring it, so create production order for glasses, finish production order for glasses, bring the item of glasses will be then present in the inventory, and then you can consume it in this production order. So there are various like, scenarios that are present, and so these are the ways. So for now, let us call it item only. It simply means that item is present in our inventory, and please take the item from the required location. Okay, so this is something. And so these are a lot of different fields. So I think we can talk on bombs, so we can talk on hours and hours on bombs and operations, but for now I am going to cover only those
The simplest
scenarios
step.
with
Yeah.
the simplest step, because if I
Yeah,
navigate
because
into
if
too
the
much detail.
Krishna join us next session,
Yes,
we can
yes.
go deeper.
Exactly. So right now my main agenda is to create a bomb. So this is how we can, we'll be adding lines, and so once we do that, now the most important thing is that we have to approve and activate these versions. So right now I can see that nothing is approved. Okay, so I'll click on approval. This is an important step. So approved by me. Okay, I'll click on okay. So now this is approved.
Hmm.
We can see the approved here and approved by. So if I quit this form, now we have to approve and activate bomb versions also, or bomb versions also. So that was bomb, we approved it, okay, but now we need to approve the bomb version itself. So approved by, okay, this is approved by, and now we have to make sure that this is activated. So we click on activate. So
Oh, okay.
approved is done, activation is still remaining. So I'll click on activation, and we can say now our bomb is activated. Okay,
Okay.
so this is how Nelson will be creating bombs, and I think for now this is sufficient, so that you should know how
Yeah.
to create bombs. And yeah, let me navigate to the all production orders and just give you a quick look of what exactly happened when we created all of these things. So I'll try to create a manual production order here. So that will take us to all the steps. So let me navigate to the all production orders and all production orders here. So the same view we'll be having. So these are all, this is all the grid view. So the item number, so this is what it is being produced. This is what the quantity produced. This is the report as I mean, what the quantity is remaining, the delivery
Mm.
dates, the status. We'll talk about status and every point in status in upcoming sessions. The status which is done, the status which is remaining. Okay, and these are all the buttons. But so, and we can create a new batch order. So
One question: this status flow is already set up in the system, or you can
yep,
create different?
they are the status which are somewhat hard coded, like
Oh, okay.
all the possible status. So yeah, they are by the system itself, because these steps are
Oh,
always needed. Maybe you can skip some of the steps in some of the scenarios,
mm-hmm.
but they are always there. Okay.
Oh, okay, okay.
So so if you want to create a new batch order, so yeah, so right, I forgot to mention one thing. So for these we'll create production orders. So system will say, okay, create the production orders. So for the and for these we'll be creating the batch orders, so do not be
Okay.
confused by that. So also
But
it
that is
makes sense.
only a terminology, or is something practical?
This is, yeah, this is very much practical. See, whenever we are creating anything in process manufacturing, 99.9% of the time it is done in batches. For example, if you are producing
Okay.
a shampoo, so you'll always have the batch number, so
Yeah.
that you can finally track that from which lot, from which batch, on what day that thing was produced. So
Mm.
batch number is like a very important characteristic of something related to process manufacturing. Let me say, if I'm buying, let me say, two bottles of milk, so it will always have a batch number specified, that this was from one particular batch. And whenever the things are produced in batches, so they are making a kind of quality testing. So they are
Mm.
selecting some random samples, and if they found those
Yeah,
three
I
or four
think that
samples
is
bad,
more
they
applicable in
reject
food.
the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah. So process manufacturing, it's very much specific to batch, and hence in Dynamics
Hmm.
365 they adopted a terminology called. So if you are going to produce something in process manufacturing, we'll call it the batch production, or the batch production order.
Okay.
But in discrete manufacturing, yes, you can have batches, or if you can have a car, you can have a laptop which can have a batch number as well as serial number, not an issue with that. But in reality, these things are actually produced in batches, and hence
Mhm.
the Dynamics 365 prefers it to call a batch production order or a batch order,
Mhm.
and this we'll call a production order. Okay.
Okay. Good.
So so this is the thing. And if the for now, like, I want to create a new production order, so it will give me a drop down of all those items which will be having the BOM version. So we can get a drop down of all those items. So let me select my item, sunglass. So it is, see, right now it is saying sunglass. Okay, so this is the one that we are producing. So I'll click on this. So it showed us that the hold on, I think
Can you
it
give me
should,
2 minutes?
yeah, yeah, sure.
Back.
Okay. So now we can see that we can have the default order type also listed as production here. So this was what I'm trying to tell you, that we have
Mhm.
production. So we'll select our item, and as soon as you specify, let me try to specify some other site. So we created the bomb for site one. Let me try to specify site two. So we
Yeah.
can see that we can specify the site and warehouses, and we'll get nothing here. Also, our bomb version, bomb number and route number both are empty. So this is
Mhm.
one thing. But if I try to specify the site one, which has the active bomb right now, so
Mm.
it will ask us a prompt. Do you want to insert the active bill of materials and route? So we do not have a route yet. If I select yes, so we will have our route number populated. So
Okay.
depending on the site, depending on the quantity, depending
Mhm.
on the, all of these things,
Yeah.
so you can have the various versions populate. So once we do that and click on create, so for one quantity, our production order will be created. Status is
Okay.
created. And so for now, I think we'll pause here. So this is how we created a bomb. And in the next session, we'll be talking about the various stages and various scenarios that will be covered during the usual production order processing. I think that is sufficient, but till then, just make a quick revision of what I told you, because these concepts will be very much useful. I think you know already a lot of them already. So I think then we'll talk about the production order processes in the next
Mhm.
session. Okay. So I think we'll
Wonderful.
stop here. All right.
Perfect.
That's good. All right. See you, Nelson, then in the next
See you.
session, and
Thank
I'll
you.
upload this video. Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.